right, that's right. I'm not doing no musical. We're doing this goddamn review. All right, I think it's time to do it. And the title, don't get like offended by the title because it's just a title. And honestly, it's kind of true. This game is not a masterpiece. No matter which way you cut it, there are issues with this game that need to be kind of addressed. And I guess I can go about it in the great, the good, and the bad type of way. So if you're new, go ahead and subscribe. Let's try to hit like 400 likes on this video. That'd be appreciated. Let's go ahead and start off with the great, which is obviously the web swinging. The web swinging is just phenomenal in this game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's probably the best web swinging in any video game. It gives you all of those amazing options like the loop-de-loop, the corner tether. Of course, lets you actually customize how you want to play. If you want a little bit of assist, if you want no assist on your web swinging, if you want total assist, there's actually options here with your web swinging. And yeah, I just played Web of Shadows yesterday for like 5 minutes. I'm like, this is garbage. No offense, I bet if I play Spider-Man 2 back from 2004, I'll think the same shit. Nostalgia don't work on me. So I genuinely think this web swinging is just phenomenal. I've been playing it for like the last month, just non-stop, and that's like the only thing I'll be doing sometimes for like an hour is just web swinging and then just getting off and doing whatever the fuck else I have to do. And it's a lot of fun. The combat too, I think the combat is pretty nailed. I think there's a few adjustments that can definitely be made with the combat, and that is like wall combat. I think wall combat is something that definitely can be added into the next game that can definitely improve the flow of the combat, or at least in some ways definitely amplify it to that next degree, because there's just so much that feels like there's missing, and I think that wall combat can definitely help a lot. Overall, I think that those are realistically the only two great things in this game. Like, I can say that the skins are great, but I think that they're in a good category, and I think that same thing with like Venom and the dialogue and even like the story. And I think that there are many things within the story that are very, nonsensical, I guess. And it's kind of like Web of Shadows in many ways, where it's like, holy crap, it doesn't even make any sense, but I guess, like, MJ running away from Peter. Like, realistically, we've seen this Peter literally grabbing onto people and flipping them upside down and backwards while he's asleep, and now he can't do that to MJ? Come on now. And there's, I'm not going like, oh, this is totally woke shit, but, like, there's some goofy things like that don't make sense, that shouldn't be happening in this game. I don't want to spoil too much, but man, I don't know. I like the story. The story isn't bad. That's my thing. I think the story is really good. There's a lot of epic moments that I remember, like Kraven versus Venom. I love that. I think Venom as a playable character too is one of the funnest moments of any video game I've played in a long time. Definitely one of the most energetic moments I've had in a Spider-Man game in a very long time, because that just felt so good to get fucking Venom and just play around and smash through shit, feeling that hulking energy. Like, that felt amazing. I really like that. And that was like a 30-minute playthrough session, I think. So that was very fun. I really liked and enjoyed that section, that area. And I think Venom as a whole was a little bit fumbled and a little bit wasted. I don't think it's the worst thing ever, but I think that he was good. He was good for what he did. He wasn't bad, but there's more that could have been done. And I honestly feel like they kind of fumbled him in many ways. Yeah, that's pretty, like, the dialogue was really good. There was some subtle things in there that really made you, like, feel for the characters, or at least like, oh man, I mean, like, the Howard mission was just fucking devastating. And I guess it's kind of hard to put into the bad category, but I would say it's like a 50-50 split between the side content. Like, the side content is like 50% good and 50% boring and bad. And I don't want to say anything about the Haley mission or any like stupid little missions like that, but they could have done a lot more. Like, they could have done a lot more. That's all I have to say, is that this whole game feels like they could have done so much more if they weren't like being forced to bring this out in like 5 years or whatever, or like however long they had. If they had like 2 or 3 years to bake a little bit more with this game, with the story, give them 1 more year with the script, 1 more year with developing the game, and I guarantee you it would have been like 2 hours longer and 10 times better. And it's not even like a dig at the developers or the writers, because I know that Sony was like, we need a sequel ASAP, and we want it by 2023, or else we're gonna have your asses. And I think that there was some type of rush. I went through a fuck ton of bugs. I mean, like, bro, I'm not even kidding you. The Marco mission, I beat it. I had to like redo it like maybe 3 or 4 times, go on Twitter, ask people how to redo it. Finally got through it. Then I could 100% the game, thank God.
Someone should probably send this to Insomniac because it's telling me that I need to like move around and break this crystal thing. I had to restart my game and redo this. And it's like I had to reload this mission and do like 3 more crystals and go back to it, and it's still not working. So
I went through it for the second time. I had to redo everything that the people told me to do. And finally they update the game to make it work so I can 100% the game again. And this time I was fucking stuck unless they updated the game, and they finally did like 2 weeks later. So there were a lot of bugs, and I don't care what anybody says. You could go look at the patch reports and see how many bugs and glitches and shit there were, okay? I'm not saying the game was unfinished because they finished whatever they had, but it felt like there was a lot of things that could have been fixed before launch, and there was a lot of bugs and glitches, and that's not a bad thing. If I were to give the game an overall rating from a 1 out of 10, the biased side of me says it's a 9.5, but the realistic side of me says 8. It's an 8 out of 10, and I think that the first game's story nailed emotionally better. Like when Peter's, put his hand on Harry's chest and they're like, ah, I like low-key giggled just a slight bit. I was like, oh no, Harry. But at the same time, it's like, and when he's crying over Harry's body, like that was a little sad. But at the same time, it's like, it didn't hit as hard, it didn't hit you as hard. It really felt more like a setup for the next game. And a lot of this kind of felt like it was more of a setup for the next game. The story at least felt like it was more of a setup for the next game. What I hope they do is take their time. I don't give a fuck if it's 2028 or 2029. I know it's 2023 now. I don't care if everybody that's played this game is like, super fucking young and they're like in their 30s when this game comes out. I need this game to bake. The next game needs to bake. Because if it's not like, like 40 hours long, like a story that really wraps things up, then it's just going to feel disappointing, and I hope that doesn't happen. And I didn't think that this game was disappointing, or the story was bad, or anything was disappointing. I just think that there's more that could have been done, and what they gave us was great, and good, but if they had more time to work with it, there could have been less glitches, less bugs, more potential side content that felt really necessary, because a lot of this feels unnecessary. Story beats that kind of, I don't want to say prolonged the game story, or at least like dragged it out, but at least like somewhat made it more interesting. For example, I've said this before, there's a mission at the end where Peter has to distract Venom, Miles has to fight symbiotes, and MJ has to go get the rock, right? That's like the first mission of the final mission, or the first part of the final mission. There could have been a moment where you go as MJ, it's like 5 minutes, you go and get the rock, you run away from Venom as Peter, and then you fight, or like you fight, like there could have been moments where you have a lot of synergy. And I feel like there's only one moment in the game where you switch in between Miles and Peter in between the missions, and that's, or I guess 2 moments, and that's the first mission, and I guess the fucking the lizard mission, and then the last mission, and then that's it. In between all of that, there's no switching in between. You know what I mean? I guess the Peter, there's moments where it happens, but I feel like there could have been moments where it happened a lot more, or at least they worked together a little bit more. I don't know. I'm nitpicking at this point, right? But there could have been more all around. It could have been more, and I would have loved if they took another year to just do it. So I want to know what your guys' thoughts are. I really do love this game. The web swinging is really like, I mean, it really does help. Like, it really does carry the game a little bit. And overall, the open world is fantastic looking. Just beautiful game overall. And there are, it's very passion filled. I love how heart-filled this game is. There's no moments where it feels like they're kind of phoning it in, except with the Adidas sponsorship. With the Adidas sponsorship, that's where they're phoning it in. Besides that, everything else kind of felt authentic and natural. So, overall, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are. What do you think about my review? Like, what do you think about what were your thoughts about what you thought I was going to think about the game? Because I honestly, I'm not disappointed, that's for sure. But I guess there's a lot that can be said about this game and Ragnarok, where it felt like it probably could have been a little bit longer, or in Ragnarok's case, there could have been a whole game before Ragnarok even happened. There could have been Fimbulwinter and then Ragnarok. But they decided to crunch it down to like a 25-hour story. And I feel like with the symbiote storyline, there's only one scene with Peter being a dickhead. And there's not enough of like personal shit in this game to really flush out these characters enough to really make me care too much. So, I don't know. I can't wait to see what they do in the third game, and with Wolverine 2. That's going to be so fun to see with Insomniac and what they do next year with that game, or maybe 2025 if they delay it. Either way, I can't wait. I want to know what you guys' thoughts are in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on my next one. Peace out.